Well,
How's it going, everyone? My name is Alex. To my left is that hunky man named Jeremy Schreiber. I have changed my location again. There's my bathroom. My dog's over there. All my board games are over there. It's a Friday.
while my background is not going to be the same.
That's right, Jeremy. I keep them on their toes. Um,
Sorry,
it's
Alex, do you hear me?
Friday. Huh? He's frozen.
Are
Uh-oh.
you? Oh no, you're breaking up.
All right, we're back. Anyway, folks, it's a Friday. Jeremy thinks it's a football Friday. Of course, it's a football Friday, but I told Jeremy I'm about to hit him with a quick little curveball here because Jeremy's been working all day. I was working too, but I checked my phone. I didn't have to work nearly as much as Jeremy did today because, well, quite frankly, let's be honest, I'm on vacation until Tuesday. We love college teaching. Jeremy, we have a couple baseball things to talk about before we get to football. The New York Metropolitans yesterday signed Jesse Winker to a 1 year deal worth $8 million, 7.5 million according to the score here. And today, the Mets made another move, signing relief pitcher AJ Minter to a 2 year contract worth $22 million. Minter coming over from the Atlanta Braves. Was injured last year, but when he's healthy, he's been very productive for the Braves. So, a change of pace there where a player leaves the Braves for the Mets. Jeremy, news dropping yesterday that the Mets are pivoting from Pete Alonso. It seems like that may be true. They've gone out and spent now about $19 million in the last 2 days. They're allocating it elsewhere. They're diversifying their investments. And I still think the Mets need another bat, whether that be Bregman, whether that be Alonso. Maybe they're playing hardball with Alonso now. Alonso's his market hasn't materialized in the way he had hoped it would. And it certainly leaves a lot to be pondered there as a Mets fan, whether you do it with another bat. You think Winker's going to probably come in and be the DH platoon alongside Starling Marte, will be the right-handed bat, Winker being the left-handed bat. Jeremy, how you doing? What do you think of all this, Jer Bear?
Wow, I mean, I did see that in the midst of all the previews for the NFL divisional round this weekend, and I think that's a great pickup. Especially what really stands out to me is the AJ Minter signing for the Mets, a really good relief pitcher from the Braves. Probably a good seventh, eighth inning guy. Always good thing. Always good to have depth in the bullpen. So definitely smart move on the part of Stevie Cohen. And also bringing back Jesse Winker, good utility player. Doesn't play every day, but he can always come in if a guy needs rest. So, um, good move there.
Yep.
Still making moves here and there, not like anything fancy, no big splashes. It's not like when we were discussing where Juan Soto was going, but
That's right.
still making the necessary pieces and putting them together prior to reporting to spring training. So I believe the Mets are on the right track and the Yankees, and we'll see what unfolds.
And I think the Mets are gonna probably go after another couple high-end relievers. That seems to be what the case is right now. I heard Tanner Scott, I believe, the pitcher from San Diego. He's met with the Mets. I believe he's met with the Yankees as well. Be interested to see what happens there. What shakes out, if anything shakes out from there. And I do think the Mets will still be in play for Bregman or perhaps Vlad Guerrero Jr. They've been talking about Vladdy Daddy for a little while here now. So I suppose we'll see what happens. And obviously we'll break it down for you as we go along. Obviously, as Jeremy would love to say, let's go Mets. They're not peasants, unlike what some of you Yankee fans may say. And if you've made it this far in the video already, drop a like down below, subscribe, drop a comment, say
Doesn't cost you
Jeremy
anything.
OH,
Wait.
OHIO.
Oh,
Uh,
and Alex, in honor for Nico Collins, I brought a little prop here, Michigan's national
oh,
champion shirt from last year.
that's
So
right.
give a little go blue from you.
Jeremy, I told you go blue all the time last year. And I'll say go blue right now. I don't give a shit. If it pisses off some Ohio State fans, go blue. Whatever. I'm a big troll. It ain't
There we
that
go.
deep. Let's get an OH from you. Can we get an OH from you?
All right, wait. O,
There you go.
H. Well, H is like this.
There you
Like,
go. There you
all right.
go. It's
That
nice.
work?
IO. There we go. All right, Jeremy. Jeremy's on the Ohio State train now. There we go. Good job, Jeremy. Good job.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right, all right. Let's get
We'll
right
have
down
it
to
at this
it.
point. All
Let's
right,
get
let's
right
get
down to it, Jeremy. Let's talk about the NFL playoffs coming up here. So things get kicked off on Saturday, tomorrow. Between the is the first game the Chiefs game, Jeremy? Am I remembering that
yeah,
correctly? We
yep.
got the
That will be
Chiefs
the Chiefs.
and the Texans in Arrowhead in Kansas City, Jeremy. Chiefs are obviously favored. They're favored by only by 8, so they're only favored by a score. So Vegas is giving them a better chance to win than the Commanders. They only have the second worst odds, I guess, to win this game this week. So Jeremy, how you feeling over there? What do you make of this game?
I think what really this comes down to is can can the Texans well really can the Texans make enough plays down the field to be able to put themselves in a position to have a chance to be, I guess, even competitive in this game to keep this a one-score game?
Yeah.
Getting Nico Collins involved early on, getting him open, getting him in, some separation, and also from their offensive line standpoint, who's going to manage Chris Jones? Chris Jones or Chandler Jones, I believe. I mean, he's like an all-world defensive lineman. I mean, he's like a future Hall of Famer. So who's going to be able to lock him down
Yep.
and to just keep him in check?
Yep.
And then on the flip side, that the Chiefs offense, with Marquise Hollywood Brown coming back, now maybe things are going to open up even more for Xavier Worthy, becomes even more
Yep.
um, implemented in that offense. So that's my thinking. I think the Chiefs will win this game. I think it's just a matter of can the Texans maybe keep it close, keep it
Yeah.
one score.
I think the Chiefs win handily in this game, but I do think the Chiefs have a chance that the Chiefs have a chance to lose this game, which means the Texans have a chance to win this game. And here's, I think, how they'll go about winning if you're the Texans. You got to pound the rock with Mixon. You've got to rely on your defense because the defense is what has carried them. Well, what carried them last week, right? Um, Obviously, Stroud made some plays here and there to make it happen, but I think you need the defense to really step up big, pressure Mahomes, don't let them get going, and then run the ball, shorten the game as much as you possibly can if you're Houston. Houston and Kansas City just played a few weeks ago, and Kansas City beat the living daylights out of Houston. That doesn't mean that history is going to repeat itself, right? We saw, way back in, what was it, '07, right? When the Giants lost their first 2 games to the Cowboys and the Packers, and they ended up beating both of them en route to winning Super Bowl 42. So
Right.
I'm not saying the Chiefs are going or the Texans are going to win Super Bowl 50, whatever we're at right now, but they have a chance. You got to run the ball, though. You got to run the ball well, and you need to pressure Mahomes, make him uncomfortable. I think Hollywood Brown is going to be less of he'll definitely benefit Xavier Worthy, but I think they're both kind of similar players. They're both downfield options, a little bit quicker, right? So they don't complement as much as like DeAndre Hopkins, who's more of a contested catch, big physical threat, can run
Right.
the entire route tree, right? So, I think if you can take away at least half of the field, that's great. You got to pressure him. You've got to win on the edges. You got to win in the trenches. And Jeremy's absolutely right. You can't let Chris Jones just absolutely wreck the game because Chris Jones could do what Aaron Donald did for many, many years. What Dexter Lawrence hopefully someday will be able to do because he's also an All-Pro. Um, Hopefully future Hall of Famer as well. But Chris Jones definitely is somebody to keep an eye on in this game. Um,
And also think about Xavier Worthy, just pinpointing there, like he can also be a factor in the run game. I know
um,
sometimes like they do get in the red zone, they do like to hand him the ball off, do
yep.
some sort of end arounds, reverse play. So it's another thing to point out.
Yep. And for those of you who are wondering what Xavier Worthy's been like this year, Jeremy and I went through all of their stats recently and Worthy didn't have a great rookie year, not a bad rookie year, but um I think having another weapon back will help him, but I don't know how much it does. All right. Jeremy, next game. We got the Commanders taking on the Lions. Lions are 9.5 point favorites. Vegas says, Washington, you've got absolutely no chance to win this game. And quite frankly, I don't think Washington's defense has enough firepower there. I think Detroit's going to just run and gun. They're going to boat race them from the get go. They're going to run the ball at them. Washington's defensive backs are not the best. And having Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams is just going to be absolutely lethal for the Lions there against the Commanders. I think the Lions win handily. Though, a 9.5 point spread in a playoff game, maybe if I was going to bet, I might bet Washington to cover that because I think Washington's offense will do a lot, but I think Detroit's offense and defense do just too much for Washington to stay in it.
Right. You might just have to watch out for maybe the back end cover for say the Lions have already built up a 2 touchdown
Yep,
lead and late, and then Jane Daniels is going to run it back down the field and score. So
that's right.
for anybody who's betting this game in terms of the spread, it's a little bit of a scary one to pick because you could see Washington put up a big number and be able to cover that number. So
Yeah.
for
Jeremy,
sure.
you have any thoughts on this game? Anything that I haven't covered already?
No, I think you hit everything. I think especially the run game. I mean, I think it's just a matter of how many yards are the Lions going to rush for, right? With Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery's back from that MCL injury, I think they can rush for 150 yards in this game and maybe just
Easily.
totally take the pressure off Jared
Easily.
Goff,
Easily.
right?
I also think, Montgomery, part of it will depend on what that MCL is like. How much is he going to be limited? Like, how are they going to, they're going to do some load management for him. They're not going to let him carry the ball 30 times tomorrow. But he will pound the rock and he'll pound the rock a bunch.
Absolutely. And you also have, I think, well, Jahmyr Gibbs is more of a threat of the passing game. He can definitely throw him
Yes.
some screen passes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's dangerous in that sense as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
definitely pick up.
you'll also see jet sweeps to Williams and to Amon-Ra. Yeah, so that's a
That's true.
lethal offense. Jeremy, next game. This is Sunday. Rams Eagles. Eagles favored by 6.5. They're basically a touchdown favorite. Jeremy, break this game down for us. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Eagles. A close game, though, by a field goal. Only reason why I give the slight edge to Philadelphia is because of the weather, and the Rams are not accustomed to playing the weather that will be on Sunday. I believe there's some snow in the forecast. It should be pretty cold as
Yeah.
well. So, that's why I give the Eagles a slight edge. If this was on a neutral field, it'd be a totally different story, or if it was played in LA. But since it is played in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial, I would give the Eagles the edge. I think Jalen Hurts has a much better game, even from the passing aspect, and Saquon Barkley does his thing. And I think that they're going to be able to win this game 27-24.
Yeah, and everybody remembers when they met in the regular season and Philadelphia just ran the ball up and down and up and down and up and down the field on the Rams. All of Saquon Barkley fantasy football owners will definitely remember that game. He was all over the place. Um, Jeremy, I do agree with you. I do think that the weather is a concern for the Rams, but quite frankly, Jeremy, and I'm not just saying this because I hate the Eagles. I think the Rams are going to pull up with an upset here. I see it happening. Puka Nacua is one bad, bad man. Cooper Kupp is a bad, bad man. Kyron Williams. I mean, 2 years in a row, they've had fifth-round picks in LA. They have turned out to be just the absolute studs on the offense. They've got a bunch of undrafted free agents on the defense who've just turned out to be absolute world beaters. Now, what worries me is Philadelphia has a great offensive line. They're going to be able to block. They're going to be able to run block. They're going to be able to pass block. But I don't necessarily trust Jalen Hurts. And I do trust Matt Stafford. And we can talk about, warm weather team going to cold weather. Remember, Matt Stafford played in the NFC North for many, many years. He's played in Lambeau in cold weather. He's played in Chicago in cold weather, right? So he's not unaccustomed to the cold. Remember, Puka Nacua went to BYU. Salt Lake City or Provo is not a warm area of the country. So I do think the weather will play a factor, but I don't think it's going to play enough of a factor. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a close game. It could be a field goal game. I doubt it's going to be a one touchdown game. But there's a reason why I don't bet because quite frankly, I don't have enough money to bet. Number one, number two, I just don't think I don't feel confident enough in that. So Jeremy's
Yeah.
got the Eagles there. I've got the Rams. Well, that'll be the one game that everybody's going to turn to.
And you also got to look at the coaches too, Nick Sirianni and Sean McVay, and a lot of other teams are trying to emulate the McVay type
Correct.
of
Correct.
team. So I mean,
Correct.
this is a toss. This is a pick 'em game.
That's right. And look, McVay's a much better coach than Sirianni is. Hey,
Right? Yeah, no, for sure. Scheme. I mean,
yep,
yeah, no, absolutely. Can't argue with you there.
yep, yep, exactly. So Giants, take note of that for next year when you're firing Dable and Shane. Hire people from LA. Okay. All right, Jeremy, last game, and the game that everybody's waiting for, Ravens at the Bills. Ravens 1.5 point favorites on the road. They're road favorites. The Buffalo Bills are being disrespected in their own building. Jeremy, I think you know where I stand on this. We taught everybody should know if you watch our last pod. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Go back and watch the last one and help us out there. I like the Ravens. Jeremy likes the Bills. Jeremy, I'm going to let you give us the keys to victory for the Bills first.
The Bills. Key for the Bills is get James Cook going. You know, getting that running game going. What does concern me a little bit, though, is the Ravens defense has tightened up a bit in the last few weeks.
Yep.
So we want to see that Bills offense maybe work James Cook more into the passing game, maybe some screen passes, get him out, put him out as a wide receiver, maybe put him in a no back set and get him the ball in space.
Right.
Might be the way to do it. Obviously, there's also Amari Cooper, who they did sign before the trade deadline for probably this purpose right here for this big game.
That's right.
Get him going as well, especially your top. Make him your top wideout in this game. Target him. I think a minimum of 8 targets this game. They need
Wow.
to get him involved. Him more so than he's more of a key than Shakir, more than Dalton Kincaid, and even with Dawson Knox, who has been in and out of the lineup. So they need, I think, Amari Cooper right here. This is what you got him for. Get him more involved.
Jeremy says that Amari Cooper needs to have the biggest game of the season this week, huh? Jeremy, I think the team that establishes the run earlier wins this game. I believe when they played during the regular season, it was 38-10 in favor of the Ravens. I don't imagine a 28-point trouncing from Lamar Jackson and company, but I do think Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are going to be able to run that ball up and down the field on those Buffalo Bills. I do think you're absolutely right. James Cook needs to get going and needs to get going early. I think with any of these teams, right, the way to win games in the playoffs is get the run going, shorten the game up, and keep, especially in this case where you have two great quarterbacks going at it in Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, keep that other quarterback off the field as much as you possibly can. Shorten the game.
Absolutely.
Don't try and elongate it. Don't try and air raid it out. Similar game plan to Houston, but I think with Baltimore, they're gonna have a better time of being able to shorten that game. I think they have a better chance with the defense. Josh Allen's very prone to the turnover, though this year he's been pretty damn good. But he's had a couple stinker games. Lamar Jackson hasn't really had a lot of stinker games. We saw last week, didn't really have a stinker game against the Steelers. Kind of made the Steelers acknowledge that they're stinkers. So,
Right.
Jeremy, I think for the Ravens, like I said, establish the run, establish it early, go to it often, and just keep pounding that rock over and over and over again. And once you think you're done, pound the rock more. And if you think you're done, pound it more. And then you
Right.
pound the rock. All right, Jeremy.
Right. And it's either going to be, a combination of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry running the ball, and that dual threat option. I mean, that's lethal. I mean, that's not just a dangerous,
Yeah.
a dual, running back quarterback tandem. That's lethal. I mean,
Yep.
Derrick Henry, who's 31, rushed well over 1,000 yards this season,
Yep.
and I mean, he's just a tank. I mean,
Yep.
and how are they going to stop him on defense? I mean,
That's right.
because maybe I think the Bills then they got to hold them to under, under 150 yards total rushing between the two of them to win this game.
Yeah. And let's be honest, Josh Allen can run. Everybody knows that. Josh Allen will run through linebackers because he's insane.
That is
He's
true.
insane. So, folks, if we look at this, Jeremy and I both agree Saturday the winners will be the Chiefs. and the Lions, and we disagree. I have the Rams and the Ravens. I've got two road teams winning on Sunday. Jeremy's got both the home teams. Jeremy didn't pick a single road team to win this week. So if you're a fan of either of those two road teams, I want you to drop a comment down below that says, "Boo, Jeremy, you don't know what you're talking about. Pu, stinky, stinky poo poo."
Exactly.
Jeremy, we have obviously the national title game on Monday between my Ohio State Buckeyes and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They should just stay up in the Midwest and play this game right there. It's probably a few hour drive between South Bend, Indiana, and Columbus, Ohio. They are very close to each other. Jeremy, that's going to be a fun game as well. We're not going to break that down for you folks here today, but all I've got to say is that Buckeye Nation, can I get an OH? And then give me an IO. And for Jeremy, for all of you Michigan fans, you ain't winning jack this year.
Well, that's true. We weren't going to win anything this year because the team has been, totally torn apart due to graduation. But
They
I do
are
like
peasantly
Michigan. Well, they weren't very peasantly against the Alabama Crimson Tide.
or against Ohio
Either.
State.
Or
Anyway,
against
folks, that's an episode for us. We appreciate you for tuning in. Once again, please feel free to drop a like, subscribe, drop a comment below. It helps us out. It doesn't cost you anything. And we'll see you in the next one. And as always, back after this.